Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Bim Bom, Sushi Burrito, Poke Ramen, welcome to the Monday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott. Jordan Kitchen's back in the studio. Happy New Year to everybody as we move towards that particular milestone. Hope you had a good weekend. If you're still enjoying some time off of work or school, thanks for being with us today. Programming note, tomorrow with LSU playing at 2:30, we're going to adjust our schedule on both ESPN and on Eagle. It will be a early pregame show starting at 8:30. Then we'll go from 8:30 to 12:30, and that'll be on ESPN Radio as well as Eagle. And then at 12:30, live at lunch from Walk-Ons. We'll go take you right up to game time tomorrow at 2:30, LSU and Baylor. So make a note of that. If you're bebopping around tomorrow, we'll have a pregame on from 8:30 to 12:30, and then this show from 12:30 to 2:30. Jimmy, how was your weekend?
Great, Charlie. It was fine, minus Raheem Morris's clock management last night.
That was suspect a little bit.
I flipped to the don'ts. I'm fading the Titans 2 weeks in a row. So, that's been good. The Colts and the Jaguars taking care of business the last 2 weeks against the Titans, but the Colts not so much. The Giants scored 45. Was that the most points scored in the league yesterday or this week?
Yes.
They have props on that.
I'm sorry, the Bucs scored 48.
The
Bucs scored 48.
Wow. They're close.
Yeah, they
were.
were.
Were the Giants to get to 45?
Impossible to win.
Well, there's
I know. I'm making a joke, but
they had to be watching their team, watching the way they've been going. I mean, had to be one of the four or five longest shots on the board, which 80-1, 100-1, something like that.
Scott Van Pelt had a good tweet yesterday. He said it's one of those rare occasions where it's difficult to see which fan base is more aggravated over the outcome of a game. The Colts for losing and blowing any chance they had to playoffs, or the Giants for winning and blowing their chances to number one pick.
Yeah. Jaden Daniels does it again. Don't give him a chance. And Atlanta. And, Charlie, we sit on here and we will pick apart some coaching, game management, and clock management decisions. But, it's because we can see the clock. We're trained actually more than the coaches are because we watch more games. They watch film. And so the games where their exercise, their experience, are the games that they're doing.
Yeah.
And not all the times at the end of halves, but Raheem Morris wasted 5 timeouts last night at the end of both halves combined. That not even close, but cost them the game. But cost them 2 drives at the end of the halves where they both ran out of time, where he sat on timeouts. He did. He went to the locker room at the end of the first half with 3 timeouts where they ran out of time and settled for a field goal. And at the end of the game, he had one. Well, he used one when the clock was stopped. No, Raheem, you use the timeouts when the clock is running. Once they got the first down to the 45, they were the clear aggressor with the field position dictated. Washington had no chance of getting timeout, boom. And you got about 35, 40 seconds to work with. Instead, you had about 18, and you had to settle for a long field goal, which your backup field goal place kicker is not capable of making. And it came up 6 yards short, 5 yards short, 4 yards, whatever, but woefully short, and it cost them the game.
It did, and there's no disputing that. I saw a lot of bizarre clock management over the weekend in college and pro. This one might have been the worst.
College bowl games.
We'll get to it a little bit later. But I can't dispute anything that you said because it's all completely factual. And I thought last night that it was a really interesting game to me because of these 2 rookie quarterbacks at different stages. Daniels was a starter from the beginning, and Penix has just moved into this position. Both of them show an enormous amount of potential, and for Daniels, it's here now. I thought Penix last night, showed why. Hey, listen, you can feel good about the future with this guy. He wasn't perfect. He missed some throws.
He's inconsistent.
Sure, but keep in mind, he's where Jaden Daniels was in September.
Absolutely.
He's in start number 2. So I would feel, if I were an Atlanta fan, which of course I'm not, I'd feel very good about the future with Michael Penix, whether or not they make the playoffs next week, and they shouldn't because the Bucs are going to beat the Saints. But for Washington, and this is for every Saints fan today that feels like there is no hope and there is no hope ever. Okay, there's one thing to say there's no hope today, there's no hope ever. The Washington franchise hasn't had double-digit wins since 2012. They made the playoffs in the COVID season, but besides that, the 2015 season, there is a renewed hope there because they got new owner, new quarterback, new coach. Houston 3 years ago was a laughingstock. New quarterback, new coach, owner who recognized how bad he was screwing up and backed off of the thing. So you can, if you're a Saints fan and you feel like there's no hope ever, there can be hope. There can be. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but there can be hope. And for what Jaden Daniels has done, man, with that franchise and the plays that he's made and the season that they're having, our friend Troy Macker, he's not with us today because he's got another deal, but he's been a Washington fan his whole life. He tweeted out after the game last night, said, this is only the second 11-win season in my lifetime, and I'm, however old Troy is. So watching that's fun, okay?
Yeah.
And I got no allegiance to Washington other than I want to see Jaden Daniels do well, and I enjoy watching him play. But getting that ball at the beginning of the overtime, and he starts to we talk about it all the time, Jimmy, runs and then important runs. When do you have to, know when to. And, boy, he was pressing the envelope. You could tell when they got the ball open that overtime. It's like, I'm going to do whatever I got to do.
Oh, Charlie, that started way before that. That started in the second quarter when he knew that he had to use his legs to try and get this thing going. Just in his passing game, and look, the passing game is his future, and that's what separates him from like RG3. He has shown that he can make all the throws, but he was going to have to supplement with his running game. He rushed for over 125 yards.
Yes.
How many of those were conversions? Almost all of them?
A lot of them, yeah.
I mean, how many third downs? Fourth down? I mean, he made the fourth down run against Philadelphia. So they needed every one of his runs to win that game, to stay in that game, to win that game. It's not the recipe you want to have every week. But it reminded me a little bit of the Alabama game, his junior year when he was more of a runner. Mm-hmm. But he was maybe more of a running threat than a passing threat last night. It was more dependable, and he took some hits. They had to take a timeout for him to before the game winner.
It was a basketball timeout, basically, to get everybody
the game
rest.
Winner, for him to catch his breath. Kind of him. He was just he was worn out, and he just needed a breather.
42 of the 70 yards were Daniels on the last drive.
On the overtime drive?
Yes, Daniels on the
ground. Okay, and he had, 90 more? And how many third downs or fourth downs did he have, to keep them alive?
A ton.
Because they were on the ropes the whole time. And, he put the team on his back.
And not for nothing, but, Terry McLaurin, who I love, okay, one catch for 5 yards last night, and he had a drop besides that. Where his leading receiver last night was Olamide Zacchaeus, who's from Virginia, who's played very little, and then Zach Ertz, the dependable veteran. It's not like he's got Jefferson and Chase and St. Brown and all these guys running around. He's got decent weapons.
He's got an adequate supporting cast, but it is not great by any stretch. Atlanta was putting a lot of pressure on him. They were winning the battle up front, most of it. That's a defense that's not good. He took, and in Penix was inconsistent. He made plays too.
He did,
and he missed guys. He's not the the running threat. He's not going to be that Daniels is. But think about who's the two guys that are leading for the MVP right now. It's Josh Allen is a favorite over Lamar Jackson. And those guys, he is so 10, 12 starts in, he is so much of a better passer than those guys were. Not even.
Yeah, absolutely.
Allen was all over the place. All over the place. Brian Daboll, I don't know if it's just coincidence, but when he got there, he kind of calmed it down and improved his accuracy, which is hard to do. He was the most inaccurate quarterback in the league his first couple of years. But he ran a lot. He looked to run a lot. Jackson was mostly a runner, much deeper than his first 12 starts or something. Daniels is a better passer than those guys at this stage. Now, can he continue to improve? I don't see why not. But he does these type of games. You don't want to make this a regularity. You don't need him taking these many. But this, to get him in the playoffs, it had to happen. And okay, and that's fine. But, he's going to do. Michael Penix was his second start. Daniel's first two starts, he was not good against Tampa Bay.
No.
In the first one, okay? And in the second game, they won without scoring a touchdown when the Giants were out there place kicker.
That's right. There was
they had to go for two every time.
It was a game neighbors caught all those balls and dropped the one at the end.
21-18, 7 field goals.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's come such a long way, and, the experience, and he's probably going to be even better next year. But we rarely get this in the NFL where there's this storyline where this rebirth and this long-starved fan base, and they've had to endure such a scummy owner, and just it was such a poorly run operation. But, man, they show the owner in a timeout. They're chanting his name.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like I don't know if you saw their preseason game broadcast. Those preseason games.
When he went up to the booth.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did. And he's just kind of like, you wouldn't think this guy is some polished guy that owns this big time yacht or whatever and has his crew. And he's in time. He was kind of had like a pullover and kind of just some jeans on or something. Just kind of like just a regular guy.
Yeah.
And. But hey, you knew he was all in, and it's just worked out for him. And he seems to be more. And it's impossible for an owner to be a man of the people, but a little bit more of a man of the people than Mr. Snyder. More in touch, with the fan base. The fan base is kind of privileged too, man. That's a lot of money. To pay for NFL season tickets right now.
Washington's such a formal city, Everybody's got the suit. Everybody's got the politician. Everybody's got, the affluence. Everybody's trying to assert power and all that stuff. So you wouldn't know if an everyman would relate. They probably need an everyman more than they need. Snyder could put the suit on. He could give you the slick presentation and all that stuff. But the
majority of their crews coming from the burbs, the DMV area, the Virginia area, and things like that. Okay, and they got people that are affluent and can afford the tickets to just waste their money, no matter if it's a crap product or not. This is what we need to see with, what we think is going to happen in New Orleans as far as, these people they're sacrificing. That's a big chunk of their discretionary income to pay for these season tickets for the Saints. And, kind of surveying a few Saints season ticket holders, I don't know. Hey, Loomis is back. Is that making it? Nope. We're still going to pay for him. Nope. We'll be upset. We can call Mayo and curse at him, after post game and stuff. But no, we still going to go. And so, but it was cool to see this rebirth, and, a guy that had to live in Joe Burrow's shadow, even after Burrow was gone. Their paths never crossed. Burrow was gone by the time Daniels got here.
Yeah.
But he said, man, I just got in, rightfully so. Burrow is the most renowned player to ever come through this program. And for Daniels to kind of, I don't know if it's a little extra motivation. Certainly, the development part of it goes with the LSU staff in the technology that they use to improve him because he made such a big jump from his first year starting to his second year. See how that works. sometimes. Those of you who are maybe a little critical of Nussmeier, but he's he's a star, and he just what we like about Burrow is the anti-Daniels, and that is Burrow. He got knocked out, blindsided in Tempe by the Central Florida, which is now a hit, and that's going to toss a game. The guy wasn't flagged for the hit; he was flagged for the taunting.
Yeah,
it was in his face after, but it's a no. No, I'm not going anywhere. Don't get Nuss ready. I'm staying in this game. That kind of fire to Daniels, like, man, does he care? Man, he just but in the biggest moments, he rises his game. He elevates his game in his poise or his kind of casual. So what the anti-Burrow, he's super like chill, but he never gets nervous. His heartbeat isn't getting, he's not jittery. He is fine, and in his own little way, it works so well in the most critical moments, the most clutch moments. And because he's got too many damn clutch moments right now, Charlie.
And that stuff you're talking about on the field is so hard. And I think just as hard is to have everything thrust upon him that has been in a city like Washington, okay, which is all about power. And he is other than the guy that's going to get inaugurated here in about 3 weeks, he is the king of the city right now. And to take all of that and to not have it affect you, and, what do you see him anywhere he's not supposed to be?
I've tried to pay attention to see if he gains a little bit more swagger or a little bit more confidence because he's a shy guy.
Very much.
Okay? Yeah. He's when we did some interviews with some Arizona State beat writers, they're like, hey, look, don't think you're getting some team leader.
Not a vocal rah-rah guy.
Don't think you're getting some, quarterback that's going to, challenge his teammates or, like Burrow, Jamar. Can we do this? Tom Rinaldi. When I asked Jamar Chase if he could do an interview, well, I got to check with Joe first. Well, Daniels is not on his guys behind like that all the time, and both are special. But both are so different, and I hate this comparison, but a little bit like Peyton and Eli. Peyton was so study. Eli, does he look like he cares? Peyton cares a lot, but Peyton kind of had some problems when that heart rate went up in the big spots in the playoff games, and Eli seemed to be more suited for it. Not getting too excited.
It's very difficult to have navigated everything that Daniels has navigated over the last 2 years as well as he has done it.
We're live over here at the Finbom Sushi Burrito. New year, new cheer, baby, over here. And, it's, we got patio dining available over here at Finbom. But, the sushi burritos, I just had to miss some time because I was sick. But you know what? One thing about it, on the way home, I made sure I was stocked up on my ramen bowls. So, star of the show, ooh la la, in the garlic lime shrimp, I got them all. And I'm sorry, but maybe it's a little bougie of me, Charlie, that I'm going to ramen to get Finbom to get some fresh ramen as opposed to Campbell's canned soup.
That's a good idea.
I work for a living.
Very good idea.
When I get sick, I'm going to get the Finbom ramen. They load me up. They're so good. The staff over here is so friendly. But if you're kind of getting worn out with the holiday food, a sushi burrito or a poke bowl are outstanding. They're light, they're fresh, they fill you up, but they're really good. But you don't need a nap after, that's for sure. So you still energy to finish out your day. So whether with this cool little snap that's coming through this time of the year with the ramen bowls that are so good, or with the fresh, kind of New Year's, we like to kind of be a little bit lighter. We've indulged, as we should. Grandma or mom or dad that likes to prepare all the holiday fare. You got to eat it. You can't just push it aside. Well, you want to try and get back into playing shape after that. It's a great place for it. We love it, man, over here at Finbom Sushi Burrito Poke Ramen. We're next to Rouse's. Charlie going to be next door tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning, 8:30. Yeah.
So Charlie will pitch a cot in the back of here of the Finbom and just go next door to Rouse's tomorrow before he comes join us midstream over at for game day, our special time. But check it out, right next to Rouse's, Burbank and Lee, Finbom.
Live at Finbom, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Finbom. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand. New LouisianaSports.net, 1045ESPN.com. And tomorrow's show will be from 12:30 to 2:30, as we'll do an extended pregame on both Eagle and ESPN Radio tomorrow morning from 8:30 until 12:30. Saints finish the home season, home portion of the schedule yesterday in the Dome, 25-10 loss to the Raiders. 5-11 are the Saints, 3-6 at home. The Raiders got to New Orleans about midnight, which means that some 12 hours later they had to be ready to go. Aiden O'Connell was the quarterback. The Raiders have used multiple quarterbacks this year. The Raiders are one of the worst rushing teams in the league. Amir Abdullah, who had never rushed for over 100 yards in his career in somewhere around 90 games or something like that, had a $115 yesterday. Spencer Rattler was good in the first half, bad in the second half. Saints didn't have much of a rushing. Why am I going through all this? Look, here's what I can tell you. If the embarrassment didn't reach ultimate levels after you lost to Carolina, who at the time was the worst team in the league, and it did enough to move Dennis Allen at that time, if you weren't completely humiliated in a standalone game on Monday Night Football in which you were shut out for the only shutout on the season so far, then losing to the 4-win Raiders, who actually, and I know the players don't think this way, but as far as the franchise, it would be in better shape if they had lost, come in and completely just slap you around a little bit, then I don't know where the embarrassment level could get any higher. You're going to get beat by Tampa next week. You're going to get beat fairly soundly because Tampa needs to win that game to ensure that they make the playoffs. I don't know what else you need to see. Everybody we've talked to says do not expect a change at general manager or at team president. But all I can tell you is that there are some other media outlets that are coming around to the realization that we had quite some time ago, which is there is a desperate need of a change at the top, and not at the top. You go out and hire another coach, you're going to have to do that, but it's going to take more than that. It's going to take a change in philosophy. What was a risky philosophy when you had Drew Brees is now a completely inadequate one, the way they handle the draft and free agency. So if Gail Benson, God bless, hasn't noticed that she has the worst team in the NBA and pretty close to one of the worst teams in football. They won't have the worst record, which is unfortunate because as bad as they've been, you'd at least like to be rewarded. But no, they're still going to be probably somewhere around 10 in the draft. Then I don't know that she will ever notice. I brought up Houston. I brought up Washington. You can turn these things around. But if you have got the same arrogant guy up at the top that says, I can trade away draft choices, I don't need a whole lot of draft choices. They've taken their top 4 draft choices only twice in the last 6 years. The same guy that says, I don't have to follow the salary cap rules the way the rest of the league does. I'll just keep restructuring contracts because I'm the smartest guy in the room. Then there's nothing else you can do. So either Loomis has got to go, or Loomis has got to change his he's got to change his philosophy on how to build a team. And if they don't do anything else, if you're telling me Loomis is a made man, he's untouchable, Lausch is a made man, he's untouchable, then at the very least, take a look at what you're doing in your scouting department. Because if you look back at the last 5, every draft really since the 2017 jackpot that you hit, they've been so bad. I mean, so bad. So at least do that. At least revamp your scouting report. Humor me, anyway. Thoughts? Or you gave up on this a while
No,
ago?
I gave up a long time ago.
I don't blame you.
It's apathy. I'm apathetic, and I mean, it is. You pointed it out. You follow the inner workings and the cap situation and all that more than me, and it's you have the 9 openings, Now, ranking those openings are subjective. It's opinionated. But they're in a conversation by everyone at the worst situation to take over for a new coach, which they're hiring a new coach.
Yeah.
And, I mean, and there's only 32 of these jobs available. They'll be able to find somebody. Somebody will take it. Miss Gale's not cheap. She will be paying good money. But it's way beyond sort of the Dennis Allen, which we knew.
Sure.
Which we knew. You know, I'm just wondering. And like I said, and I don't want to, I think we're going back in time. And I used to make a statement about the Saints fan base because how many teams before Breeze and Peyton got there, how many teams in the NFL had the Saints level of support for as little success that they've had? They're one of the most loyal fan bases.
Yeah.
But loyal sometimes is not smart. And if they're going to continue, I don't know if this makes a dent. It's not going to make a dent enough to interrupt her family ties.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, and what's it going to take when she at least feared the fan reaction or the lack of fan support when they were coming home for those 3 games to make a move with Allen?
You think she'd have fired Allen if there wouldn't have been 3 home games?
But is she? No.
I'm curious about that myself.
No. She had to overstep Loomis's.
She had to override him.
Yeah. I mean, she had to come in and do his job for him at that point. And as teams do for a short-term period, it rallies them a little bit. Yeah. They beat Atlanta and won a couple of games, and okay, and here we go. But that short term is right back where you're 25-10 at home to the Saints, where they were compromised with their travel, and you were embarrassed in a standalone Monday night game, shut out for the first time, the only time in the NFL this season. And that's what you got? I mean, no. The Carolina game, which was the worst team, the Packers game on Monday night getting shut out, the Raiders come in house where their fans are pissed at them for winning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where are they now? They ain't in the running for one of the top 2 picks. That's over, and they would have been. So it's but I'm not. Is she going to, if they don't have their sold out season ticket base, and they made all kinds of nice, sparkly new. I mean, it's just kind of, you know, the Superdome. It's renovated. Oh, great! I mean, come on, the dome's the dome, but.
It does look good in there, man. I mean,
great. Great.
Well,
but, I mean, is that enough to where instead of taking the family to a really nice restaurant or out for, a play at the Sanger and then going to a museum or whatever and doing a nice dinner, we want to go sit in the Superdome and eat Super Dogs or, some banquet food that's a second rate? Come on, man.
In a vacuum, she should be what you want in an owner. Somebody who's willing to spend money and give you the opportunity and stay out of your way.
Supportive, but stay out, but not not
so volatile. It's not so volatile to where if you have one little bad stretch that you're going to be fired. Unfortunately, it's that other. I mean, she's done that on the basketball side too. She's given David Griffin all of the slack in the rope you can ever have, but at some point you have to look at it and go, "This is not working." Okay, Mickey, this is not working. This philosophy you have is not working. You're the only one doing it, and it is not working.
How much knowledge is Miss Gale supposed to have of the salary cap situation, Charlie? She's doing a lot of things.
Yeah, I get it.
I know she cares. She has the best interest, but does she have enough knowledge to recognize that this is? I mean, is somebody going to sit her down, a consultant, say no? I mean, she's not going to spare any expenses. I don't know. But that woman's got a lot on her plate. Now, I think that the Saints and Pelicans are on the top of her list.
And that's why I wanted this to you have to be moved by something that embarrasses you.
Okay, but the Pelicans and Saints have the same results, but they have not been operating the same path.
No.
The Pelicans did some things to give themselves a chance.
They did.
Okay,
there's been way more bad luck on that side.
Yeah, that's just some bad luck, some injury luck. Okay, and nobody wanted to talk about it, but when everybody was, doing backflips and hoping that they would landed, the ping pong balls for Zion, it's going to stay healthy.
Right.
His build is, and hey man, go check out Joker's rookie footage. He's fat.
Sure.
Well, he got in way better shape,
Yeah.
and it lends itself to where he can play most of the games and where he could be productive, highly productive for a long. Williamson's been great when he's been on the court. He's been fine. I mean, yeah, he's going to work on his defense and this and that, but he's a headache to deal with. But he has not fully committed himself. Like, I'm sorry, just go look at the Joker video. But I don't know if Miss Gale understands that she just sees the same results, Charlie. She sees two of the worst teams in her league. She knows that.
There's enough smart people around her. And if there's not, she can do what Tom Benson did. You know what? Remember what Tom Benson did when he bought the team? He was a car dealer. He didn't really know about it.
Who are the smart people around her?
No.
They're under Loomis.
She can ask the league for help. Tom Benson asked the league for help. He said, I just bought this franchise. What do I do? They said, hire Jim Finks. And he did. And it worked, okay? Finks was a solid professional. She can ask people in the league, hey, listen, we're in a funk. What do we do? And they can give her a list of qualified people and say, hey, listen, these people can come in. They're qualified football people, and they can run your franchise. That's what I would hope.
Don't forget our friends at the Legacy Title, Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings, 296-0060, full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly service is what you get every time you dial 296-0060. Ashley Donald, Marianne Haynes, Adrian Galata, and Michael Platt, and, of course, our buddy Chad Reynolds. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, the Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at FinBomb, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from FinBomb. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at FinBomb, live at lunch. Yesterday, Vikings beat the Packers to set up what is going to be the best game or the most important game in the NFL next week, which is Vikings and Lions for the number one seed in the NFC. But I'm more curious, Jimmy, what you thought about the Packers yesterday. And I've got a reason that I'm asking this. They fell way behind. They rallied in the fourth quarter to make this close, and the Vikings had to make some plays to put it away. But what do you think of the game, but Green Bay in particular? And I'm asking for a reason.
I thought, Jacobs with an early fumble when they had the ball in plus territory, and they were going to take a lead. In most likelihood, that was just a tough play. He doesn't fumble, and then Love missed a guy, on a play, and go to Randy McKay, man. That's a tough place to play. That is a loud place in Minnesota, and Flores, who was too mean in Miami, is really good, again, in his unit, who doesn't have the best cornerbacks in the world. They put a lot of pressure on them, a lot of stress, because they're coming. They're a high blitz percentage team, and they're a good pass rushing team. And it's just we always say, every defense, we're going to be aggressive on defense. It's going to be man, they're aggressive, and I think in that building especially, they're tough to play. And I thought it was just a good defense, a tough place to play for an opposing team that kind of got Green Bay really, really stagnant on offense and made some mistakes until the latter part of the game where they rallied with a couple of late touchdowns, but never got the ball back. And on the other hand, I looked at the halftime box score, and it was 224 to 112. I just didn't, and Darnold had about 150. He's on his way to 300, and it just didn't seem like that as much. Green Bay's been, both teams were super, super hot. 9 in a row, 8 in a row for Minnesota coming in, and how many in a row for Green Bay? But I thought just the home team, and I think Minnesota might just be a little bit better, and Darnold, we just got to accept him as being pretty damn good. And, not having everything his way. I thought he moved well in the pocket and avoided some rush and made some plays and made some throws. They've taken Jefferson away on most of the plays. He still goes to him at times. And, Addison could have had one. I just think that home field, which I didn't understand in the first place, why this game was a pick 'em.
I didn't either.
And it was the most popular pick. Sharp money was on Green Bay in this one, but Minnesota's just a little bit better. And they've won a lot of close games. Is that just it? But they're good wins in close games, There are
a lot of them. And I was really impressed with the drive after Darnold threw his worst pass of the day. It was his worst decision of the day. There was no way that pass could have been completed. He threw it into heavy coverage, and Green Bay gets to score because Minnesota was really controlling the game at that point. They came back, and they went right down the field. He made a couple of really nice throws on that drive. They get the touchdown, and they bumped the lead right back.
Green Bay was down another receiver at the start of the game. So
they're down Christian Watson.
That was before the game, and then they lost one in the game. So he was throwing to some guys we really weren't familiar with.
They spread it around a good bit though. They've got an ensemble there.
Love is going to be fine, but he's not great. He's not a Burrow. He's still relatively young, but he's good. He's just not. He's not elite.
So let me. This is where I was going with this. If I'm in the NFC, I'd rather play the Packers than the Bucs. I think the Bucs are more dangerous. They don't have a better record than Green Bay, but I think they're more dangerous. They've got more meat on the resume. They beat Detroit. They beat Philadelphia. They almost beat Kansas City at Arrowhead. And when they're right, now they threw in a clunker against Dallas last week, but when they're right, they're capable. I don't think they can win 3 games in a row in the playoffs, but for one game, I think they're more dangerous than Green Bay.
Maybe. It depends on Baker because
it does depend on Baker.
He's going to take his chances, and he's got a high Love protects the ball so much better, and that's why I like having him long term. But yeah, it's sports. Who plays better that day?
Yeah, for 10 games, I'd rather have Love. For one game, I'd rather have Baker. Does that make any sense?
No, I wouldn't. I think Love still makes plays. Charlie, they were really good in the postseason last year.
They were.
Really good. They destroyed a Dallas team and probably should have beaten San Francisco on the road, who could have easily won the Super Bowl, was in position again. So I think Tampa Bay, they were competitive at Detroit. It was kind of got a touchdown late to kind of backdoor, and I don't know how much of a threat they were to actually win it. They were competitive, though.
Yeah.
But Baker he's just too much of a wild card. The ceiling may be slightly higher. The floor is much lower.
That's kind of where I'm going. Green Bay has been in every one of these games against the contenders. They played the Vikings twice. They played the Lions twice. They played the Eagles once. They've been within 5 points in all of those games except for one. They lost them all, though. And that's where you got to say, okay, they were close last year in the playoffs. They didn't quite get there. They were close in these games. They haven't quite gotten there.
I was more impressed with what Green Bay did in the postseason in Tampa Bay. Philadelphia
last year, sure.
Philadelphia was an implosion by that time.
But I'm talking about this year. When they played the big games, they've lost. They're close, but they've lost. Tampa's got at least more of a puncher's chance.
Tampa, Detroit was week 1 or 2.
2. It's been a long time, and that's fair. But they've done something. They went into Arrowhead and almost beat Kansas City. But a lot of teams have almost beat Kansas City.
Baker's got his guy back. Evans, you got to have that, and and he's found some other guys around him.
Bucky Irvin's really coming on, man. He's
been great all year. He's
been terrific all year, and he's really coming on here of late.
Well, they're playing weaker teams now. So
yesterday was
Carolina's
week.
defense is
no argument there.
Yeah, they were probably
beat the Chargers a couple of weeks ago in L.A. That was a nice win.
They destroyed them in the second half. I just it's some people think that Tampa just I will still take the Packers, but I understand that because Baker is just not afraid. but reckless also. And so many quarterbacks today are a little bit timid. They're scared to death. They're drilled not to make a mistake. And because of it, they're not as aggressive. Well, he's aggressive. You ain't taking that away from him. But his interception, he's second in the league in interceptions?
Yes.
So
remember how close they were in that playoff game in Detroit last year. Yeah, they were very competitive in that playoff game.
They were competitive. I never thought in the second half they were really going to win the game. They got a touchdown late to make it a one-score game, but they never got the play back. And then our buddy decides not to call a timeout because he says it was over. So anyway, don't forget over here at Finn Bomb, right next to Rouse's, man, for poke burritos. You can create your own, or you go with our specialty sushi burritos, ramen bowls, or poke bowls. Man, all the good stuff. It's fresh. We do the rest. Right down the street too. Another one of our great sponsors, our friends over at Los Reyes Mexican Grill. Los Reyes again. We were over there doing the show live last week. If you haven't been over there lately, man, you got to check it out. All of the great specialty and traditional Mexican, the enchiladas, the burritos, the tacos, the fajitas. We got all that stuff. But you have a couple of cool items as well. Brisket tacos we have over there. Fish tacos. We do also do the gyro tacos, man. It says kind of gyro meat on a fresh tortilla. A great guacamole over at Los Reyes, and a great happy hour, 2:30 to 6:30 every day of the week, 365 days a year rather. Los Reyes across from Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson.
Live at Finn Bomb, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Finn Bomb. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Finn Bomb, live at lunch. Tell me you didn't see this story eventually coming. 6 former Florida State basketball players have sued the coach, Leonard Hamilton, longtime veteran coach, alleging he failed to make good on a promise to get each of them $250,000 in NIL money. I'm amazed it's taken us this long to get to this point where 6 players who said that they almost walked out on a game last year against Duke because they didn't get paid the money that they were promised by Hamilton. Jimmy, we've been waiting for Leonard Hamilton to retire for about 3 years now or more. He's had a tremendous career, a lot of success at Florida State, more than they ever had before that. And before, did some nice things at Miami, who had not really done much of anything before that. But wasn't it inevitable that you would get this type of a story?
I don't know. I mean, would he promised him or something?
Promised him, according to them, promised him $250,000 a piece, which there's 6 of them, so it's $1.5 million. Apparently didn't deliver. You got anything in writing? You got a.
This is just like the UNLV quarterback, huh?
Yes, exactly. Except this time it's going to court.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're gonna.
Well, those oral agreements, man. They can be interpreted different ways, huh?
20-page complaint. We'll see how that one turns out. We're back with hour number 2 on a gorgeous day here in Baton Rouge. We're at Finn Bomb next to Rouse's, Burbank at Lee. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Finn Bomb. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Monday edition of Live at Lunch here in this holiday week. Tomorrow's schedule a little bit different. From 8:30 until 12:30, we'll have a pregame simulcast from Rouse's, which is right next door to where we are right now, for the Texas Bowl from 8:30 to 12:30, and then from 12:30 to 2:30 on ESPN Radio. Live at Lunch from Walk-Ons, the original on campus, or right next to campus. So adjust your schedule tomorrow if you're working, if you're off of school or whatever. Hope that you can make it in your plans to be with us a little bit tomorrow as we get ready for the Texas Bowl. Watched a lot of bowl games. We were on Friday, Jimmy. We were doing the show. We were watching Oklahoma and Navy.
Yeah.
Looked like Oklahoma might run away and hide with it early. Jumped out to a 14-0 lead, but things kind of stabilized and Navy kind of leaned on a little bit. Oklahoma scored, went for two, did not make it at the end, and Navy held on. Our backing of the military schools in the bowl games, that trend continued. We got them with Navy, got them again with Army the next night.
Yep. Army held on to cover that inflated line.
Got a call late. On what
could have been a backdoor.
Yes, Louisiana Tech could have been
a backdoor.
I don't know why they didn't challenge that or call timeout or something or have them look at it, because that touchdown looked like it was good, and they never went to it. They just went straight to the 2-yard line and didn't get in. But
Oklahoma, this is the quarterback that they switched to mid-season for to Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, Michael Hawkins.
And they won the Auburn game in a flukish manner with a linebacker pick six from about 55 yards away. That he get credit, but that South Carolina start that he had, they were down 21-0. He had 3 turnovers in about 6 snaps to start that game, and they were down 21-0 and not competitive at home against South Carolina when they were almost double-digit favorites in that game. But they've gone out and gotten their guy, so he's not going to be counted on to be their starter next year, and they got a hell of a schedule again. So.
The same one, just
flipped home and away for your 8 conference games. So they're going to get beat up again next year, and I don't know, man. If
what's Brent Venables' record in conference games? If you had to guess,
were they 3-5 this year?
2-6. 2-6.
2-6. And then you look back at the Big 12 games too.
Mm-hmm. 3 years as head coach at Oklahoma. What's his record?
Losing record last year, so he's got to have a losing record overall.
He does. He's 12-14 with contract extension. And so not only does he have a losing record in conference in 3 years, Jimmy, he's got 2 losing records, period.
Yeah.
Which they buy you a certain amount of wins.
So you count the bowl game here?
Yeah, count the bowl.
6 and 7, okay.
In the first season and third season, both 6 and 7. And again, when you buy him certain wins, okay? I mean, his first team, they played 2 games where, you can't possibly lose to UTEP if you're Oklahoma. You can't possibly lose to Kent State.
Everybody has those.
Right. So,
I mean, everybody's playing SWAC teams.
I get it. But what I'm telling you is that 6 and 7 isn't even really 6 and 7.
No overall records are, Charlie.
No,
I get that.
So if you have a losing record overall, you're like 3 games worse than what it really says.
But in the same sense, the league screwed Oklahoma and gave. I mean, what would they have done against Texas' schedule? They'd have been better than 2 and 6. You can't book.
No, they would have been better than 2 and 6.
Texas wouldn't have been 7 and 1. So they really screwed them on that. But they. They gave him a lot of money, man. And I know Oklahoma's got a nice budget.
And then they gave him a lot boosters, more money.
but they, I mean, and that was where the athletic department said, what is the rush? Who's beating down his door?
Nobody.
And so that's my thing. And don't tell me you need a 5, because the roster's a year to year now.
Yeah.
I mean, so you don't, not that you ever needed it before, but that was, how can I compete? How can I recruit against our competitors?
These endless golden parachutes for doing your job poorly. I mean, you got to pay them out a year.
Charlie, once upon a time, most of the vast majority of your class was going to be with you 4 years.
Yes.
Okay, that's over.
A long time.
So you don't, but it just, this was, and listen, we could go down the list as far as just spending irresponsibly by athletic departments, with coaching staffs and whatever else, because that was to dig themselves a hole. I want to ask you that. Did they give him the contract extension and a raise before they got their schedule?
I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do this without looking, but I think they had the schedule. I got to look that up. Maybe Max can help me out here. I want to say that contract extension came in the summer.
But they scheduled it too. Like
yeah, but
May or June, they released a schedule in Destin, right?
It was late May. Yeah. I think the extension came afterwards.
I think it did too.
Not a lot, but I think it did. Don't hold me to that. Max will look it up for us. But
Because if you looked at that schedule, and I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm taking Nebraska, more wins than Oklahoma under. I mean, because they were going to have a tough time. Look, they were coming off a good season. They had a good season.
They did. The last year was a good, good season.
That 10-2, they beat Texas. I mean, It
was after. Yeah, Max just confirmed it. It was after.
But another sign of irresponsibility. I mean, wait, we're playing who? Look at these teams. Well, we might want to see how he does first, because this is a step up.
There's no reason to give it to him other than we just like you. We want to give. There's no recruiting benefits to giving him an extension in the summer. There's no coaching. I need to go hire this guy. He needs to know I got a contract. Not all of that's done. Your schedule's done. This is just we want to give you more years and make it a bigger liability to us if you don't do well. Because if you do well, you're going to come back and you're going to want even more.
Who hired him? The AD. The AD was looking like, man, we're putting all this confidence in you. I mean, he's not firing him, but the AD really buried him on this one.
At least you can say, if I got to go out and hire a Lincoln Riley or a Brian Kelly, I got to give them this much money or they won't come. This guy's already here. It boggles my mind how some of these things are approved.
Is it Castiglione? Is the AD there?
Yeah. And
so,
Oklahoma's athletic department is one of the best in the country across the board. I mean, they're good in pretty much everything. And in gymnastics and softball, they're the best program in the country. And this is one of the most storied football programs ever. Mm-hmm. The guys are really good. AD. I don't get this. But at any rate, Vandy winning season. They got the win. Now that was I thought a really entertaining football game. You had the weather delay at the end.
Pavia cares, huh?
Pavia cared. Haynes King cared. He played hard.
Oh no, Haynes King. But I mean, with Pavia still, it's just. I mean, I think a little bit left on the field with Georgia game. A little bit. That was one.
That's fair.
They're going to lose sleep over.
Sure.
They're going to take that to their grave. I mean, they had big bad Georgia beat.
They did
at their place. No, the SEC champs and but Pavia here is he's and in the era of the dumbest. This is the dumbest football IQ generation I've ever seen. Okay, and by the players. This guy, like when Burrow in the overtime game, well, you got to trust your quarterback. I know you just missed a field goal, but you're going to trust him not to throw a pick here, keep it away from harm's way, and maybe, no, I can't do that with Baker Mayfield. And when we're short, even though my kicker just missed a field goal, another short field goal, I can't do that with him, Charlie. Mm-hmm. I can't do that, obviously, with Jameis Winston or something like that. But Joe, I could protect him. And when Diego Pavia is running out the clock, and they needed to, run a couple of steps and then kneel it to just a few seconds off the clock, he's going to do it. He's going to take the timeout down to 1 second. He's going to snap the ball with 1 second. I mean, he just freaking gets it, and it's so refreshing that a guy's so damn IQ smart in the dumbest football generation I've ever seen.
Diego Pavia is going to have an interesting offseason because, and I don't know quite how big a deal it is in Nashville. Nashville's a big city. There's a lot going on there. But he is a celebrity. He's a college football celebrity, which we've seen that before, but maybe even to a different level with him because, number one, Vanderbilt's never any good, and he makes them interesting, okay? And then the second thing is, this guy went to court. He's been jousting at windmills. He got the rule changed so he could come back and play. I mean, he's king of Nashville.
But is he going to
stay
in Nashville?
I think he is. I'd be a little surprised if he moved.
Well, they're going to have to sweeten the pot.
They will.
Okay. I mean, they got to. If Mensa's getting $4.5 million a year, Pavia better get at least that.
See what you think about this theory, Jimmy.
Nashville's got it.
Yeah.
Then when are they going to spend it again? They finally got it, and you say he's entertaining. He's the dual purpose. he's entertaining, but he's also a very effective, a winning quarterback. It's just not sizzle. He got a lot of stake to it, too.
And that's why I think he's one of the guys that's really worth NIL dollars. If I'm Vanderbilt, because he is somebody that a casual fan will come out to see that wouldn't ordinarily, and if they like what they see and they have a good time at the Vanderbilt game and they win, they might come
100%,
back.
100%.
He's a program changer.
No, 100%.
And so even though he's not, maybe the best player in college football, he's one of the most influential guys in college football.
They can't afford to lose him. And they've got it. They just got to shake down some of the AD's got to go find those boosters that are, man, you enjoy coming to the games. Yeah, they're excited now. If you can't get money out of them now, you're never going to do it.
This guy's worth it. Another guy who is worth it when he's right. I said this when LSU played him. I said this in a bunch of other games. Scariest son of a gun in the Southeastern Conference is Taylon Green, the quarterback at Arkansas, because when big plays and bad plays, but boy, when the big plays are going, he is something to watch. And against Texas Tech, he was something to watch.
This is one of the more surprising outcomes of the bowl game because Arkansas was down so many players. Texas Tech, the line just kept, it moved like 6 points basically from Arkansas 3 to Texas Tech 3, give or take a half a point here or there. And he won it by himself. They could not handle him. And he's got that long stride, and it's just an easy comparison that I tweeted out that it's, Matt Jones. Matt Jones didn't look like he was moving fast, but nobody was gaining ground on him. And it's just because that long stride, and he's the same way. He's exactly the same size, 6'6", roughly 225. And they just they have that throwing motion where they're, Jones got drafted as a tight end / receiver, because they didn't trust his arm so much, but he was that good of an athlete. And Green has been an inconsistent passer, but with time, his accuracy should improve. And, man, he connected on some plays, but they got some pretty good quarterbacks coming back next year in the SEC.
Yeah, they do.
Some pretty good, how much better did he look than a guy that's getting than Florida's quarterback in the bowl game? He looked way better.
Lagway
was terrible against Tulane.
It was awful.
It was terrible
game.
against Tulane. Just that might have been the worst quarterback play in the history of football, by Tulane with their 4 or 5 star coming out. But he is Green, Sellers at South Carolina, Pavia. These are lower half resource programs in the league that got a shot. I mean, how about the backup for Ole Miss? I mean, last time we saw him come in for Jackson Dart, he sparked the whole win against Georgia. They just went 3 and out, turned it over, looked terrible, and they went down the field. I mean, Nussmeier's going to be back. He's going to be really good. I mean, you got some quarterback. Milroe's coming back.
Maybe.
I mean, they got some. It's just, who has the biggest budgets? They got them in the SEC, and so what is Auburn going to do? Are they interested in Malik Murphy? He flirted with Oregon State. Now he might not go to Oregon State. Is he going to go to Auburn now instead?
No, they brought Jackson Arnold in. They've already spent their money.
Who would you take?
Malik Murphy.
You
said
you spent money on Arnold?
Yeah, they had to get him away. He was going to go to Mississippi State. Who would I take? I'd take Murphy.
I think Arnold could go to Duke and win 9 games.
No,
and I'm not. And I'm.
He couldn't win 9 games at Oklahoma. I was going to win 9 games.
I hate to be hypocritical. Well, I mean, Oklahoma, they
tougher competition, but more resources.
Yeah, no, but there ain't many that could go 9-3 at Duke. I thought. No. I mean, I don't think it's all him. I think Mensa's better, and now it's being noted that he was kind of nudged out. They had an in on Mensa. They had it say they wanted him, if he's going to stay, he's going to take a pay cut, and he said, "No, I'm leaving." No, I mean, it is what it is.
No, it is.
But he still won 9 games. I don't want to give the quarterback too much credit, but he had a decent hand in them winning 9 games.
Yeah, he did. He had a very good year.
Yeah.
He had a very, very good year. We're bigger on Mensa.
Yes. I would agree with that. Don't forget my friends over at MR Property Group in Baton Rouge. And Miss Miriam Del Rio, Miss Remy Curry wants to wish you and yours happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, the whole shebang. buying, selling, or investing. These LSU alums are big LSU sports fans. They are great in negotiating for both the buyer, the seller, or the investor. So, you're thinking about selling, you may not realize how much equity you have in your home. The MR Property Group with Keller Williams Red Stick Partners in Baton Rouge, they can get top dollar, as they've done for all of their clients. They have got great track record of getting top dollar for you as a seller. For a buyer, they can negotiate their seasoned negotiators in getting not just the right price for you, but the right conditions, maybe a flooring allowance and things of that sort to kind of do things yourself. So MR Property Group with Keller Williams Red Stick Partners in Baton Rouge. Give Miss Miriam or Remy a call at 230-4242, 230-4242.
Live at Finbom, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
The Thibodaux store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. Heaters on sale right now. As we get into the really colder part of the year here, we turn to 2025. Your shop heaters are on special right now. The Radiant electric heaters, the Fan Force ceramic heaters are available. The Milk House heaters, all of them on special right now. Go to ThibodauxStore.com. You can delivery is free at ThibodauxStore.com. Your home improvement experts, if your New Year's resolution is to spruce up your property a little bit, let them help. Don't go to a YouTube video to depend on that to make some minor repairs, which can save you time and money. Speaking of saving you time and money, that's what the experts are there for. They'll walk you through some of these projects so you don't have to hire a contractor or a handyman. They're not going to have you buying supplies that you don't need. They're not going to have you going off on techniques that are going to cost you additional time and money. They've been doing this for over 100 years at their Pierre Part store. So Pierre Part store, the Thibodaux store can help you, whether you're doing some painting, whether you're putting in some cabinets, whether you're doing some plumbing work, some electrical work. Let them help you out. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. And online at ThibodauxStore.com.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Finbom. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Again, special schedule tomorrow with pregame from 8:30 to 12:30 and live at lunch from 12:30 until 2:30 over at Walk On.
Pretty day, Charlie?
It is gorgeous outside, man. We got moderate temperatures.
I didn't get out the sports book yesterday, so I didn't get to appreciate the weather we had yesterday.
I appreciated it after the first set of games. The second
you needed a break.
The second set of games, well, the first set of games didn't go quite as well. Having to sit through the Saints was painful, but I was watching the other games. Watching the Colts was pretty painful too against the Giants.
45. I mean, the Giants' offense. lit them up. Malik Neighbors went crazy.
Locke's got
and
5 touchdowns. They had a kickoff return. They did everything that you can.
But he threw to what do you have, like 13 yards an attempt yesterday? Chunk play after chunk play.
It was over 13 yards per. The Giants.
Yeah, Giants.
Who would be more aggravated, the Giants fans or the Colts fans?
I
think the Giants fans.
So you know what the odds on a Jets, Kansas City, Cincinnati parlay, that's what you need, those 3 teams to win to get Cincinnati in?
Okay, hang on. Let me do this for a second. Jets, Kansas City's a 9-point dog with all of the starters out to Denver. The Jets are playing who? I'm blanking on that.
They host Miami.
Who's still alive, yeah.
No, yes.
Yeah.
That the Bengals need to win. They need Denver and Miami to lose. They got the Colts, one of those dominoes, to fall yesterday.
Yeah. Wow. A 3-team parlay with that given, 10-1?
That's 17-1.
17-1. Need a lot of stuff.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Steelers going to play. What do you do tonight? Is this where? Okay.
What would I do, or what are they going to do?
Campbell's. Ultra aggressive. That's him. You got to live with his aggression, whether it's game management. But he's just barfed this. So this. They're going to put teams away, unlike some, because of their aggression. not keep them hanging around. They're going to go for it in sort of those neutral spots, even sometimes with the low percentage spots, because that's what he does, and that's what they're built apart. And they're probably not going to sit anybody tonight in a game that means nothing when they really – like you shouldn't run Gibbs at all tonight. Man, he can – a running back who's had to increase his load due to an injury, man, you don't want to – who's not a 30 carry back guy to begin with, man, make sure he is fresh and ready to go for Sunday night against Minnesota. I mean, you got backup backs.
I'm counting.
I mean, golf. I mean, I'm careful on that too.
They got, by my count here, I may be off one or two, 17 guys on injured reserve, and that's not counting David Montgomery, who's out and is not because they're holding out hope that he gets there. If I had 17 guys on injured reserve, and a week from now I got to play the Minnesota Vikings for the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs, what's the difference? Oh, I don't know. A week off in a home game, or you got to play and you got to play on the road. I would be doing everything and with this game means absolutely nothing. Okay, next week's game is everything, regardless of what happens tonight. I would be doing everything in my power to make sure I was as healthy as I could be going into next week. I mean, I would start Hendon Hooker. Jamar Gibbs, I wouldn't even let him dress out. I don't know who you know who the backup one of the backup running backs is. It's the kid from Utah, Viaki or Vaki. Hoss, you getting 20 carries tonight?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd sit Laporta, who was banged up a little bit. I'd damn sure sit St. Brown. He'd probably fight me for it, but I'd say, yes, I'm sitting everybody that I can possibly sit in this game.
The line's not reflecting it right now.
Because Campbell's not going to do it.
Right.
He doesn't.
You don't think it's going to do it?
He doesn't have a downshift. He doesn't. Like you said, some of that's good. They needed that. They needed to change that culture. But he just doesn't have a downshift button. He doesn't know how to do that.
At some point, like Tampa Bay, and being routed by Baltimore, kept just plugging away kept their starters in, and boom, Godwin's out for the year. Think they'd like to have Godwin right now?
He would help more than a little bit.
I mean, you think Baker's doing a pretty good job right now? I mean, what would he do with all of his? And that was in meaningless time. Every snap of this game tonight is meaningless.
Yes. And so what do you think he'll do?
I think he's going to roll out and play his guys
the whole way.
Yeah, most of it. I think they'll kind of lighten Gibbs' load instead of just running him as much as he normally would. Man, you'd love to have fresh legs and give him a week to recharge his batteries at that position. They might sit him down a little bit. I mean, you can't tell Goff not to throw to St. Brown, but maybe this is just not strategic. I mean, this is 0 counts tonight. 0. And why would you get your quarterback? Why would you get your running back? Why would you get your top receiver? Why would you jeopardize them? Sewell, would you sit him? I mean, I know it goes against from what you've done, but you are in a different spot than you are taking over a 1-15 team.
Yeah. I would treat this like the 4th preseason game. Now the difference, the last preseason game. Now the difference is the last preseason game you still have a roster of 80, so you don't have to play any of your starters. You don't have that luxury. You don't have 10 offensive linemen. So some of your starters have to play just in the interest of fielding a team. But I'd make it as minimal as I could.
It's your team was the best in football at one point this year, and they're not anymore because of all the injuries, nothing else. And now you have a chance to not just get, but you have a little bit of a reprieve, a little bit of a pass on trying to get some of these guys as healthy as possible. You can't get all of them back, I understand, but just to get my guy from, say, okay, you can take this night off, and against the Vikings, you be 95% instead of 75%, that's just calculated.
Yeah.
And it's just something he's got to do. And you are a have now. And you're super aggressive, but, man, nothing counts this week. Everything counts next week. And to get the guys a little bit closer to 100%, Man, it's such an easy call.
I'll give you another reason. If next week Jared Goff turns an ankle in the first quarter, who's coming in to play quarterback?
Hooker.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get him some foul. You can get some quality snaps.
Not only that, but they signed Teddy Bridgewater just in case.
Yeah.
Throw him out there. He hadn't played in a year. He's been coaching high school football. Throw him out there and just, hey man, get the blood going again.
Yeah.
He hadn't played football in a while.
Everybody can use a little bit of a bye week to kind of heal, just get a little closer, just get a little bit of a half step back. I don't care if it's 10%, but yes, it's a long season. Everybody talks about it. So why don't you just, man,
take advantage of it?
And like you, I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't bet.
Nobody else is. It's just a 3.5-point favorite.
That's right. Don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies since 1980. Service today, every day. That's right. My buddy Lucas Ragusa wants to explain. Service today, every day means you'll never sleep hot. Call today. Get service today. Factory authorized dealers for Carrier, for American Standard, for Dakin and Rheem products. Generators. It's not time to get a generator installed at your place when the storm is about to hit. No, it's time to do it in the off season. Authorized dealer for Generac generators and Cummings generators as well. We cover both Baton Rouge metro areas and New Orleans areas with a separate Baton Rouge staff and office and a separate New Orleans staff and office. One-time heater or AC visit. You mentioned my name, Jimmy Ott. We're ESPN Radio, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Normally $179. It's just $79. Baton Rouge, give them a call at 480-1000. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
Live at FinBomb. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from FinBomb. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at FinBomb with the corner of Burbank and Lee, right next to Rouse's. You want to come by and see us for lunch here at FinBomb. Football IQ and clock management. We watched, I don't know how many games between Friday and today, but it was plenty.
Oh, it is. This is an unbelievable run, huh?
The situational stuff, be it the Nebraska quarterback Raiola sliding a full yard in front.
Yes.
When
he starting his slide.
Where
that's
you
where
start
you
the
are.
slide, guys.
And then he points first down.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
you're going to show up.
But fielding punts. Fair catching punts at the 1, at the 3. So if the kickers are so good now, it used to be the 10. You put your heels on the 10. You don't make if you move your foot back, you let it go.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's the 8 now, if it's the 6 in the NFL where the punters are maybe okay, but you just never ever fielding a punt inside the 6-yard line.
I don't remember how many times you said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" So many.
Chicago, on Thanksgiving, that was bad enough. Eberflus just watching the clock, hoping that his rookie quarterback would maybe call a timeout or snap the ball quicker. So it's a two-headed monster there, but he can't. Okay, beggars can't be choosy. Once I think he doesn't have a clue, I got to step in. You can call timeout from the sideline. You can do it. You're allowed to. And then for Thursday night, for them to do it again, where they throw the ball downfield, they have multiple timeouts, and they don't make the snap decision to call the timeout because it takes the further the gain is, the longer it takes to get everybody lined up again. That's just common sense. It's physics, common sense, and you burn it right there. Instead, you have rookie quarterback who takes a little bit longer, and then they wound up in an incompletion with the clock stop, calling a timeout. Raheem Morris did it last night. The interim coach for Chicago did it Thursday night. They called a timeout after they let the clock run, where they should have called the timeout, and then called it with the clock stop. You can't make this up. And so what else did I miss, Charlie?
Well, the one I wanted to talk about actually has a little bit of what would you do to it, and we discussed this a little bit on Football Sunday yesterday, which is the end of the Broncos and Bengals, okay? Now, Cincinnati, this is the game is tied, and Cincinnati's got the ball down into the
It's at the 1 yard line.
They're at the 1 yard line, and Chase Brown, the running back, goes down on first down.
No, it was like the 4 or 5. He got like a 4 or 5 yard gain, and he went down.
He went down at the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
It was first down at the 6. They go down. He goes down to the 1 yard line, and he falls down. Okay.
Do they let clock run, or they call their second timeout?
Well, they had to call.
remember.
They had to call the timeout because Brown was injured. They forced Cincinnati to call a timeout, which is where we get
Cincinnati.
into.
Oh, okay, because he's injured. They
Because
get a
he's
free
in-
timeout.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's your situation. What Cincinnati wanted to do was force Denver to call their third timeout there.
Which they did on. Well, no, they didn't do it.
No,
on
they
second
didn't
down.
have to because of the injury timeout. That's where this is different now.
But on second down, they could have.
Second down and goal from the 1. Denver has one timeout left.
Right.
Okay. Minute 31 to go. You're playing second down and goal. You're Cincinnati. What do you do?
I run it. A quarterback sneak, but like kind of almost a slide, try and get as close to the goal line without getting in the end zone. So maybe trying to get Joe to get down at the half-yard line. If he has to just dive and get back to the line of scrimmage, fine. But that's what I'm doing. I'm not taking a 2-yard loss. Because I'm going to make them use their last time out, and I have third down to get the touchdown. Now, the risk is you're not guaranteed to get it in on third down.
Right. That's
Okay?
right.
So there's some risk and reward, and there's some balance there, but we all agree that is more as a calculate. You can't settle for a field goal voluntarily, okay? Even if you run – boom, they run their timeout after second down, and after third down, you take another knee to kick a field goal because the last 35 yards are the hardest to get from field goal range into the end zone. That's the hardest, and that's going to take the most time. So, but you could have run it down to fourth down, kick the field goal on fourth down, and they would have had about 40 seconds and no timeouts. But they only have to get to the 35. That's 35 yards from the 30 to the minus 30 to the plus 35. So so I'm going up 7.
So what they
So they did. They just went it. They didn't take any risk. We're going up 7. They can have their timeout in a minute and a half to try and tie the game.
And that's what they did. They said, Bo Nix, if you can go the length of the field on us with one timeout in a minute and a half and tie the score, God bless.
That is debatable. I think the percentage play is to make them use their timeout, and I'm going to take the risk on getting in from the 1 yard line, in which was kind of a late in the game. My offensive line has a little bit of an advantage. Defense is pretty good for Denver, but I'll take my chance right there. But what is not, there's no debating in some of this other crap that we've seen. No, Raiola, put your shoulder down. Okay, one time. And did Jaden Daniels slide?
Take one more step.
How many times did Jaden Daniels slide last night?
He got out of bounds a couple of times, but I don't remember him sliding.
Because you give it up yards where he starts, because he needed every yard to most of those were conversions, and they had to. You don't want to make a living out of running that many times and rushing for 125 or so yards. Okay, we don't want to do that. And he's a way better passer than Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. There's 14 games in.
That's why I'm interested in the Denver-Cincinnati thing, because there's at least a debate there. I can see both sides of it there. There's different ways to do that.
The Chicago stuff with Eberflus, with the interim coach, with Raheem Morris, he wasted 5 timeouts combined. 5 when there were obvious spots. And only thing of like, why do you insist on doing this? It's because there is more of the analytics approach, like, no, we need to try and leave as little. It is balanced. It used to be secondary priority. Totally. We got to score first.
Yeah.
We got to secure our. Well, some teams started giving them a better chance of letting them score.
And I get,
and there is that video game aspect and trained player and modern thinker and analytics involved, but it's gone too far. And the only thing is, I say, because this never happened 25 years ago.
And I get
sitting on timeouts.
We've beat up on him a lot, but I'll give Zach Taylor credit for his players knowing the situation. Brown went down on purpose at the 1 yard line. If he doesn't get hurt on that play,
how does he get hurt going down? That's fluke.
Yeah, exactly. But they adjusted there, because if Brown goes down and he gets up, they're on a knee. They kick a 19-yard field goal. They win the game at the gun, and everything is okay. So they adjusted in that situation.
By the way, if you missed it yesterday, Dello was, just gushing over Burrow because he threw for 400 yards and he was constantly pressured. Got sacked 7 times.
Yeah.
And he, 7 times. What's that usually equate to? 7 sacks usually equate to what? About 17 pressures. 20 pressures.
And 70 yards worth of losses. 60 to 70 yards worth of losses. Micah Parsons and one of the other Cowboy defenders, I can't remember, were on a podcast last week and said, say what you want about, Josh Allen or Lamar is going to win the MVP. Joe Burrow's the best quarterback in the league. He's operating.
Best passer.
He said they say he's the best quarterback in the league. He is operating at the highest level right now. And this will be real interesting to me with T. Higgins because he had the monster game and he's had – go check their record with him. Go check their record without him. We know all of the other issues that they've got on defense and with the offensive line. But 2 weeks ago, Burrow planted his flag in the press conference, says, you need to sign this guy. He was the most important receiver that they had on Saturday in that game. I don't know what they do with the rest of their needs, but Joe said sign Higgins. They got to sign Higgins. They got to sign Chase too, obviously. But they
got to keep Taylor. Because what should happen is the Bengals win again, but they don't get the help that they need, and it's all for naught. And they're at home with a crappy draft positioning. The one blessing that when Burrow went down with the injury is they came back and got a good draft pick the next year. Their draft position was good.
They did.
But Zach Taylor is done enough. It just. I just think he is, whether it's the Band-Aid approach, sort of the secondary approach on building the offensive line, or some of the play calling that has led to, him just taking a beating that he has. And look, some of it's on Burrow, too. It took him spending enough time in rehab to realize, no, this is not, I don't need to be tough guy in this league.
Yeah.
And but Taylor did a poor job, and it's the only thing keeping him from even being better. He has not had a season where he hasn't been hurt. You see him still working his wrist.
Yeah.
Working his, flexing his hand, open and closing his hand, due to his hand injury from last year. How many games we saw that this year?
Quite a few. And they've made some moves to try to improve that offensive line. They used a first-round pick. Mims is in the starting lineup, has been there since about the middle of the season. But, Orlando Brown hasn't been quite as good as that was where they put a lot of their dollars. They've noticed it. They just haven't fixed it the way that you would like.
All right. So don't forget our friends Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Dana Brown and his specialized team of attorneys, his entire staff, wants to wish you and yours Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. He's our New Year baby. That's right, Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Both Charlie and I have used Dana's team of specialized attorneys for different reasons at different stages of our lives, and never hesitate to recommend to friends or acquaintances or those that have even inquired about them. And you take advantage of their initial consultation, and we'll get familiar with your situation, see if you're entitled to more, see if your rights will be infringed upon. See if you're not entitled to anything else. So Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, they'll take you by the hand and lead you through this, and there is no charge for that initial consultation to see if we have a case or not. Downtown Dana Brown, 343-1111 and ocbrown.com.
Live at FinBomb, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from FinBomb. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at FinBomb. Again, tomorrow's special schedule will be on from 12:30 to 2:30 from walk-ons. Pregame extended from 8:30 until 12:30. There will be no postgame on the flagship network pregame.
Come on, man, slacker.
Gordy made me. Gordy's call. Blame it on Gordy.
Bring in G. Rush when it's convenient.
Absolutely. They got a ring in the new year on Eagle with music and stuff.
One thing with working with people for a long time, you could just, They don't care. Just bring him in. What do you can use him?
He's
to club a seal. You know?
I just got a call from Texas. They're all over there having a hi-ho time waiting on the game. They got nothing to do today, so they're enjoying a 3-martini lunch.
Similar result of the last time they're at the Texas Bowl against Kansas State. Well, you got your quarterback.
Yeah,
so
they had a wide receiver playing quarterback last time. They had 39 guys, so
yeah.
I think they'll be a little bit better there. Yeah, they're down 6 starters in this game. The offensive line is going to be reworked. Baylor's only down 2, which we call contributors on defense. So that line's moved all the way up. I think Baylor's 3.5-point favorite. It's 4. So it's just been moving in that direction. Baylor's got more of their key personnel than LSU does in this game.
You think Baylor's more excited to be in the Texas Bowl than LSU?
I don't know. I'm going to ask those questions. We got guys that are coming on the pregame tomorrow. You know, Shea's going to be there. Gordy's there.
I think yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What Baylor was preseason roughly top 10?
No.
Was Baylor even money to make the playoff this year?
No, they were not.
What do you? You're a smart person. You just not ignore that.
It makes sense what you're saying. I don't know where they're.
Take your purple and gold hat off.
Their
man.
head
look
is.
At this like you look at any other game. LSU's got way bigger aspirations and way bigger expectations coming into this year.
I sent my pick in.
Baylor is.
I took the same survey you
why,
did.
Why you give me a hard time on acknowledging
that?
I mean, come on, it is what it is, Charlie. I mean, look at the matchups, and pretty much most of them, the team that the lower conference team playing against a major conference team, more excited to be there. They've been more competitive.
Baylor's got more of their key personnel. That they should be more excited. Yeah, I mean, but enthusiasm levels.
The one that did was Arkansas.
Now.
Arkansas flipped that switch. Now, Nussmeier's a guy who can carry his team, but he's without some weapons.
He is, and the offensive line. If I had to say one thing,
yes, to support.
You don't have Jones. You don't have Campbell. You got to shuffle the deck here. Some guys that haven't really played much at all have to play. That's the biggest thing to me.
Well, Lacey's out too. I mean he targets him out. I mean that's his
Lacey and Daniels are out too. That's
the tight end.
So all of those things. There's a reason that Baylor's line is going up and should.
Aranda's kept his job. They rallied. How many have they won in a row?
6,
5 or 6.
I think it was 6.
And to finish, it might be a little much. The failed Hail Mary in Boulder was a killer.
That was the thing that changed their, the trajectory.
But they recovered nicely.
They did.
This is a roster and a coaching staff that managed to rebound and keep things together after that. I mean, who suffered a tougher loss than that?
No, and not only that, but they came back. You remember the game the next week? We were all, I think I was on them, I know, against BYU, and I think you were on them too. And they come out of the gate, and they had like a turnover and something else, and they're down 21-0 right out the chute against BYU. And then they outplayed them the rest of the way. They ended up losing the game by a touchdown. It was an early game. It was an 11 o'clock kick.
Oh, no, yeah, turnovers. It was 21-0. Before
that was the week after the Hail Mary. We were playing the bounce back a little bit.
I had Baylor in that game. Yeah.
They only lost that game by 6. Yeah. All right, thanks to the folks here at Finbom for being our guest.
It's a little cold snap, man. The ramen's great, but also after the holiday fair, trying to get back in shape a little bit. The sushi burritos and the ramen, the poke bowls are light. They're good, and man, they're delicious. We're right next to Rouse's on Burbank, near Rouse's on Burbank and Lee, Charlie.
Tomorrow, 12:30 start. Thanks. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.